Hello, Dr. Omar. This is Ben.
This is Jasmine.
This is Nicholas, and Angelina is also part of our group.
Yes, and this is our Check My Professor presentation final. 1 second. Oh, there it is.
Okay, so this is our Check My Professor website is a card system, review system that the students can review and rate the performance of their professor. Professors can also view ratings and discuss with other professors how to improve their system.
All right, so these are going to be the objectives that we set out to achieve when starting this project. So let's just run through them. So we need to provide information for students, allow students to rate and write feedback comments for professors. Students have a profile to save their professors and edit their reviews. Search toolbar to find professors and classes. Student can save a record of courses they've taken from multiple universities, which would be really convenient. Students can search both by an institution/area name as well as subject and professor name. That would be convenient. And provide a group chat for professors based on subject and implement a private private message system. So again, these are the objectives that we sought out to achieve when starting this project.
Okay, this is the component diagram for the Check My Professor system. The client accesses the system through a web browser that also displays the data the user would be looking for. The web tier holds all of our web pages and the connections between them that the user will be accessing to move from page to page. And it's also connected to our database through PHP and SQL. The data tier holds all of our tables that hold the data on the universities, the students themselves, the professors, and the courses they'd be reviewing for potentially taking. And this is our ER diagram with the different entities in our tables. The comments tier, which would be connected to the student and the university. The student register that holds the basic information for the student users, their ID, first name, last name, location, email and password, that kind of thing. The university's name, their location, and the teacher register, which is similar to the student register, would hold their name, location, professor ID, and would be connected to the university ID where they're currently working, as well as an email and password for login.
Thank you, Nick. That was very well put. So these are the technology used for this project. So the web languages that we used, HTML of course, we used CSS, PHP, JavaScript of course, and SQL. So those are the languages that we used. Let's move on to the applications we used. Balsamiq and Draw.io helped a lot to make the diagrams and to create our interface beforehand, so we knew what we were going to make. So how we collaborated, we used GroupMe a lot. That's how we communicated between each other, and then Google Docs to do things like create this slides and stuff like that.
Alright, so this is our team. We start off with Angelina. She created the web page and ensured the interconnectivity through Bluehost so that the user can move from page to page efficiently.
And then me, Ben, maintaining and testing web page actions for bugs and anomalies, and I also just did some design and stuff.
And then me, Jasmine, I developed the PHP for certain actions on each web page and incorporated MySQL actions such as deleting, updating, and searching. And I also dealt with a little of the security for the user information.
And for me, Nicholas, I designed the web page layout, the nav bar where the ads were located, and I set it up where I would pull the data from the database and display it on the web page.
Okay, Professor. So this, for our final project, I haven't learned any new languages, but what I am learning, what I'm improving on is my JavaScript. which is supposed to be a language that's supposed to add dynamic features to our forms, such as my registration forms. And then I'm improving upon my HTML and PHP and CSI skills for the design aspects of my forms. The PHP skills are slowly but surely improving, considering the fact that I'm using PHP to incorporate a lot of my validations for all of my users, and also to incorporate the email validation. The challenges I faced was I had a hard time understanding how to actually validate users properly and safely in order to prevent data overflow or information spamming from malicious users or any other person that's trying to overload our website with dummy users, basically people who aren't real or people who don't actually have this type of email. And then these are my user forms. The student registration and the professor registration, they each have the data that the user needs to input so they can all go into my tables. All the information is required for the form, so if you don't fill in an input, it'll tell you that you need to fill this form out again, because this field is required. And then I have a checkbox at the end that tells you what you need if you want to complete the terms and services of this website whenever you submit your form, which makes you a user. I also had to incorporate what I was going to set up for the user password requirements. So they are also presented, that way the user knows the limitations on entering a password for their data, for their account. And then once you successfully submitted your account, you'll see that you have either successfully made a professor or student account. And you'll see your submission along with your email and all your data that's supposed to be in the information. Of course, this is only for the actual user to see, so yeah, this is only for the user to see. Once you press submit, you are now inserted into our database tables, which I have two, which is student reg and teacher registration, and it stores all the users inside these tables. My primary key would be the professor ID and the student ID, while I set my email to have a unique key to where people can't enter the same email as well into the database. It will automatically say that you're not entered because this email has already been used. Unfortunately, this only happens after you submit the data, so you would have to resubmit all the information before you can become a user. So this is the functionalities for the email part of the presentation. Yeah, the email part. This shows that once you become a user, that you'll receive an email from our website saying that they need you to validate your email address. And once you validate it, you will be inserted into our database. And this is what this
Diagram.
Yeah, this is what this diagram shows.
Hello, Professor. This is Nicholas. For the languages I learned, I was working with PHP, familiarizing myself with it, and I was using it to pass the user data, the login and all that, and the database login and table the user was accessing from one web page to the next. That way, the user wouldn't have to re-log in every page they tried to access. And I was also working on combining the PHP and the SQL to connect to the database from the web page. The challenges I faced, I had some difficulties connecting to the database, and I also had difficulties maintaining that connection through different sessions on the various web pages. This page right here is the professor login. as it says there, it uses JavaScript to have a pop-up for the login fields, for the email and the password. It also has a Remember Me option down there in the bottom left of the second picture, so that way the user login information will be remembered by the computer for the next time they try to sign in. For the pop-up to open, they just have to click on that green login button, and then to de-size the login, they can either click on that red X, or well, the gray X, it'll be red on when they hover over it in the upper right corner of the pop-up, or they can just click off of it. This right here was the template for the professor login page. It would be where we would display the the professor information on their homepage. Their courses that they teach, where they teach, any messages they would have had popped up. On the sides there are places for ads so that we could get increased revenue for our system. It would display ads that pertain to the various users' different cookies and searches. Up in the upper left there's the logo for the website, Check My Professor. If you click on that, it returns you to the home page. There's also the two search options for the search by name or university, or the area or subject. And on the farthest right, there's the professor icon, or their avatar, that when you click on it, has a drop down. The first option was the return to their profile, then there's the chat, and then the last option was sign out. You can't see it in this picture here, but you can scroll up and down, and the ads and the nav bar will remain in the same place, while the data would have moved up and down as they scrolled. This right here is the connection for the sessions, the PHP that connected to the database and kept the user logged in as they moved from page to page.
Alrighty, so now we've come to my part of the presentation. Before we dive into the web pages that I've made, let me go over the challenges and the stuff I use, just like my other teammates. So what I really learned making these pages is just getting more familiar with JavaScript and editing the style of different pages. I've already had experience with HTML and JavaScript and stuff like that from when I took web development, but this was a good refresher because I took that a good while ago. Challenges I faced, just formatting everything exactly, just making it easy and providing the right information for everybody was a challenge. Not the right information, but information that is easy to read and doesn't confuse the user. That was a challenge. So let's dive into it. This is the choice page. This page is really similar to the home page. I really like how it looks. With Angelina's help, I got it to look this way. This is when you go log in from the home page, you get taken to this page, and you can go to student or professor, and you can go to that individual login page. This will be the forgot my password page. This is similar to Nick's page or pages you may have seen in the past. I kind of made a lighter blue where the text is, so it's easier to read. I thought that was a good idea, so I added that. So this is the forgot my password page, and what this page is meant to do is if you've forgotten your password, you can enter your email and press that button, and an email will be sent to you with instructions on how to restart your password. So that's what this page was originally created for. Moving on, this is the search professor page. If you want to search information on a specific professor, you can go to this page and click the drop down, and it'll have names of different professors. And you can press search, and then you'll get all the information. As you can see, choose which professor to search, and you will be provided with a list of classes that the professor teaches. So it'll give you a list of class, and then I also included, if you're lost, if you found yourself on this page and you don't know where you are, you can click here to go back to the home page.
Hello, the professor. This is Angelina Hansen. Some of the new languages I've learned are PHP. Uh, I'm, I'm learning PHP so that the user can save information from the web page to the database and interact with the database. Um, I've also been improving upon my HTML5 and my CSS3 skills. Some of the challenges that I have faced are working with PHP and how to get it to connect to the database. Initially, even though the web page I created said it was connected to the database, it wasn't sending information to the database. So the connection was there, but it wasn't submitting it back to the database. However, I was able to make a dialog box show on the web page if it was connected to the database, and that was successful. Initially developing the correct script for the connection, it was very challenging. Getting the right code to implement for the connection, it, it, it connected, but it didn't submit, and that was initially a big challenge, and I overcame that challenge. For Sprint 1, the first page I created was the student login page. So if you go onto the home page and you click on login, you will be confronted with a choice page. And then from the choice page, you can click on the student login, and the student login will take you to this page, which I have created, which is the student login page. And the student is able to log in to their profile. And this page is also mobile friendly, and it's any device friendly. In Sprint 2, I developed the mock-up of how the review page would come to look. So this was developed in HTML5 and CSS3. This is also mobile friendly. And this was kind of the setup design for how the review page would look. It will have the professor on the top, the university, the reviews, and how many reviews, and the reviews on the bottom, and who they were submitted by. This was done in Sprint 2. In Sprint 3, I worked on getting it to interact, getting the name so that way you can put in your name. I enhanced the review page. So you put in your name on the review page, you put in your comment, you submit the comment, and the comment would go down into the comment section. So it would be immediately, once you submitted, it would show you a dialog that said your comment has been submitted, to let you know it has been submitted. And immediately following, once it has been submitted, it will show up underneath the comment section. In Sprint 4, I developed the final review page for the professors for when students come in and they review the professors. And it is submitting to the PHP. My admin is submitting to the table of comments. And it is so for a visual interaction. Uh, to give you an interactive view of the live web page working with the PHP database, you go to the web page and it would say review this professor, and you would click on review this professor, and you'd put in like the title of your review, say so I can put in a title of the review. I can say he is great. And I would put in the comment for the review. And then I will click submit. It records that it was created successfully. You go back to the review page, and it shows up immediately right down here on the page. And this submits back to the database. We also have the navigation bar up here, and this is a mobile friendly page. So if I click on, so just to kind of give you a general idea, as you can see, this page is automatically, as the screen got smaller, it adjusted the screen size. So this is mobile device friendly. So if I chose to iPhone 6, 7, 8, it would look just like this. So all these pages are mobile / any device, and they work with any screen size. So if we were to adjust the size of the screen, it would still be mobile friendly. And that is all. Thank you for watching our video, and I hope you enjoy checkmyprofessor.com.